Roman Emperor Nero may have gone down in history as one of the most notorious rulers of all time. But when it comes to the most ridiculous ways that these emperors kicked the bucket, he wasn't even close. From being cooked alive to succumbing to an unfortunate case of botched surgery, here are 9 Roman emperors who died in ways so ridiculous you won't believe they're true. Number 9. Emperor Vespasian. When Roman Emperor Titus passed away in 81 AD, at the age of 41, his father and predecessor, Emperor Vespasian, was already pretty old. However, despite his advanced age, he wanted to make sure that he would be able to live out his days comfortably and not become a burden to his son. To ensure this, he allegedly made arrangements to have himself preserved through mummification after his death. But fate had other plans for the elderly emperor. Vespasian had ruled over Rome with a mix of strength and cunning. But when he finally breathed his last breath, his exit from this world was far from majestic. According to the Roman historian Suetonius, Vespasian's last words were, "I feel myself getting fatter." Talk about a cheeky final statement. Just imagine the scene, a dying emperor concerned about his weight. It's both amusing and absurd. In the annals of history, there are many tales of powerful leaders meeting their demise. But few are as light-hearted and comical as that of Emperor Vespasian. His last words serve as a reminder that even those in positions of power are not immune to the most basic of human concerns. Number 8. Valerian. Imagine being boiled alive in a cauldron filled with molten gold, your body slowly melting away into a fiery grave. It sounds like a scene from a horror movie, but it was the grim reality for Roman Emperor Valerian. This tale is not just a figment of our imagination, but a historical fact recorded by the 4th century historian Ammianus Marcellinus. During his reign, Valerian faced a formidable enemy in King Shapur I of Sassanid Persia. The two leaders clashed in a battle near Edessa in Mesopotamia, where the Roman army suffered a crushing defeat. And as the smoke cleared, a horrifying spectacle awaited. Shapur I, fueled by a thirst for vengeance, ordered the capture of Valerian. He then locked the emperor inside a metal container, filled it with molten gold, and sealed the lid. Unable to escape, Valerian's body was cooked alive, a fate worse than death. The story of Valerian serves as a stark reminder of the brutality and ruthlessness that often accompany the quest for power and domination. In the annals of history, few tales are as gruesome and haunting as that of the Roman emperor who was boiled alive in a cauldron of molten gold. Number 7. Carus. Roman Emperor Carus. S. reign was marked by military campaigns against the Sassanid Persians and the Germanic tribes along the Danube. But his time in power came to an abrupt end during a campaign in the east in 283 AD. The emperor set out with his two sons, Numerian and Carus, but only one of them returned. What happened to Carus and his other son remains a mystery, though the historian Eutropius provides some details. After crossing the Tigris River, the emperor became seriously ill and died soon after. Some sources suggest that he might have been poisoned, but there are other theories. Aurelius Victor claimed that Carus perished in a storm. And while this may sound less dramatic, it still makes for a rather unusual way to go. Perhaps divine intervention was at play, deciding the emperor's fate in the midst of a tempest. Whatever the truth, the circumstances surrounding Carus's death add a layer of intrigue to an already puzzling mystery. As we piece together the fragmented accounts of this enigmatic ruler's demise, one thing becomes clear: the fate of Emperor Carus serves as a reminder of life and the enduring allure of unsolved mysteries. Number 6. Julian. Julian, also known as Julian the Apostate, came to power in 361 AD after the death of his uncle, Emperor Constantius II, despite his short reign of 3 years. Julian left a lasting impact on history as he attempted to revive paganism and distance himself from Christianity. However, his untimely death in 363 AD overshadowed any significant achievements he might have made. The circumstances surrounding Julian's demise are particularly intriguing, as they involved a case of botched surgery. According to the historian Ammianus Marcellinus, Julian was injured during a battle with the Persians, and a surgeon was summoned to treat his wounds. However, the physician made a fatal error. Instead of providing the emperor with proper medical attention, the surgeon lanced the king's abscess without first properly disinfecting the area. This simple oversight led to a severe infection, which quickly spread throughout Julian's body. Realizing the gravity of the situation, the surgeon suggested another procedure to alleviate the pain. But unfortunately, this only worsened Julian's condition. Ultimately, the emperor succumbed to the complications of the botched surgery and passed away. In retrospect, it's hard not to shake our heads at the sheer carelessness that led to Julian's demise. A small incision made with unwashed hands had tragic consequences, serving as a reminder of the importance of basic hygiene and the risks of medical missteps, even in the ancient world. Number 5. Didius Julianus. Rome was no stranger to violence, and its emperors were often caught in its crossfire. The year 193 AD was a prime example. At that time, Didius Julianus found himself at the helm of the empire. But his journey to the throne was fraught with turmoil and ultimately ended in a most unexpected manner. Didius's path to power began when the previous emperor, Commodus, was assassinated. With the throne vacant, Didius, who was the Praetorian prefect, took advantage of the chaos and declared himself emperor. He didn't bother with the formalities of announcing his accession to the Senate, and instead hoarded the imperial insignia in his own house, marking the beginning of his short and controversial reign. However, Didius's hold on power was shaky at best. The Roman populace, suspicious of his motives and displeased with his hasty ascent, viewed him with distrust. They recognized him as a mere opportunist who had seized control and were eager to see him gone. The turning point came when Praetorian soldiers, likely influenced by rival factions, attacked Didius's residence. Seeing the writing on the wall, the emperor attempted to flee, donning the disguise of a common soldier. But this desperate attempt at escaping his fate proved futile. He was quickly captured and brutally slain by the very soldiers who had proclaimed him emperor just a month prior. Didius's untimely demise serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of power and the fickle nature of public sentiment in times of political upheaval. His story is a cautionary tale of ambition, betrayal, and the perils of seeking power in the absence of legitimacy. Number 4. Domitian. When Domitian took the throne of the Roman Empire in 81 AD, he initially impressed many with his intelligence and administrative skills. However, his reign soon took increasingly autocratic and paranoid. He unleashed a reign of terror, persecuting senators and anyone else who he suspected of disloyalty or plotting against him. One by one, his enemies were eliminated until there was no one left to oppose him. But this web of deceit and danger ultimately ensnared Domitian himself. According to Suetonius, his wife, Domitia Longa, conspired with her lover, Stephanus, and persuaded Stephanus's wife, Domitia, to murder the emperor. On the fateful day, Stephanus entered the emperor's bedroom under the guise of delivering a laurel crown. However, instead of adorning Domitian with a symbol of victory, he plunged a dagger into the emperor's chest. Wounded, but not yet dead, Domitian managed to flee to the palace courtyard, where he collapsed and breathed his last breath. The assassins, believing they had succeeded, fled Rome, but they were later caught and executed. Domitian's reign, marked by both brilliance and brutality, came to a shocking end at the hands of those closest to him, leaving a legacy that continues to fascinate and repel in equal measure. Number 3. Commodus. Born in 161 AD to the legendary emperor Marcus Aurelius and his wife Faustina the Younger, Commodus had every advantage to have a successful reign. But from the start, he displayed troubling signs, including a fascination with gladiators and a disturbing lack of empathy. While his father had been a philosopher king, Commodus cared little for governance and instead indulged in his own pleasures. He hosted extravagant feasts, watched gladiator games, and even participated in them himself. And when his father died in 188, the spoiled young man assumed the throne and became one of Rome's worst emperors. Commodus's reign saw him alienating the Senate, wasting money, and generally ruining the empire. Finally, his own mother intervened and got him to agree to marry a suitable woman, Julia Misa. However, Commodus hated his bride from the start, calling her ugly and refusing to consummate the marriage. This enraged his mother, who then enlisted the help of Commodus's gladiator trainer, Narcissus, to kill her son. On the night of December 180 AD, Narcissus entered the emperor's bedroom and strangled him. Though there were rumors that Commodus's sister, Lucilla, had planned the murder as well, there's little evidence to support this. Nonetheless, the death of Commodus brought an end to the Antonine dynasty and ushered in a new era of instability and decline for the Roman Empire. Number 2. Caligula. Gaius Caesar, more commonly known as Caligula, was born into the esteemed Julio-Claudian dynasty, setting the stage for a life of privilege and power. Upon the death of his great-grandfather, Augustus, in 14 AD, Caligula's father, Tiberius, assumed the imperial throne. However, Tiberius designated Caligula as the heir to the empire, ensuring the continuation of their family's grip on power. By the year 37 AD, Caligula had ascended to the position of Augustus, marking the beginning of his tumultuous reign. Although initially viewed favorably by the Roman populace, Caligula's popularity soon waned as his behavior grew increasingly erratic and cruel. He engaged in sadistic acts of torture, hosted lavish parties, and infamously prostituted himself in taverns and brothels. Amidst this tumultuous rule, whispers of discontent grew louder, culminating in a conspiracy orchestrated by his own grandmother, Julia Misa. Alongside her accomplices, Misa plotted to eliminate the emperor. The plan involved seducing Caligula onto a boat under the pretense of a pleasure cruise, only to kill him once they reached a secluded spot. The plot was successful, ending Caligula's life prematurely and plunging the empire into a period of uncertainty and instability. Number 1. Nero. The infamous Roman Emperor Nero has been portrayed as a symbol of tyranny and excess in popular culture. But how did he die? The answer, according to history books, is that he committed suicide. The exact date isn't known, but it was either June or July of 68 AD. How did it happen? Let's find out. Nero had grown up watching his adoptive brother and predecessor, Emperor Galba, meet a violent end at the hands of his own Praetorian Guard. Then he witnessed unrest break out across the empire, leading to 4 emperors in 4 years. Obviously, Nero was worried about his own safety. So he decided to take matters into his own hands. After receiving word that the Praetorian Guard had proclaimed his own grandmother, Julia Misa, as the new empress. Nero retreated to his private chambers, along with his wife, Poppaea Sabina, and a small group of loyalists. There, he wrote a letter to his close friend and advisor, the philosopher Pythagoras, asking him to take care of his beloved wife after he was gone. After reading the letter, Nero took the dagger given to him by Pythagoras and plunged it into his own heart. With his last breath, he uttered the words, "What a piece of luck," referring to the adage, "Beware of Greeks bearing gifts." Now, this is a peculiar way for a leader to depart from this world. Was he tired of the constant scheming and backstabbing that came with the territory? Did he just want to call it quits? Or was he hoping to go out on his own terms before the vultures did their dirty work? Who knows? All we have is his final comment, which, if true, paints a picture of a man who was tired of the game, but still had a sense of humor about it.